All right, open questions for Javontae Campbell and Troy Glover.
There was just a lot of fouls called during this game. How do you kind of get into a flow with the stop and go kind of action that this game kind of had?
I feel like we just have to stay more solid on defense. We always practice it, but we just gotta keep our hands up, keep them back, so the refs see it, so they have to call it.
Troy, I mean, you had a pretty solid night on the boards. How tough was it going up against a pretty solid rebounding team in Kent State that's one of the leaders in the MAC?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of the same. It goes. I think the whole MAC is tough. So when it comes to rebounding, we all know that every team has their tough ways of trying to rebound. We just make sure that we box out and go pursue, and that's what we do.
Question for both of you guys. Kent went on a 12-0 run to finish the half over the last 6 minutes change. What do you think went wrong for you guys in that run at the end of the first half?
I feel like we started getting stagnant. Also, I think we turned it over a few times during the end of that half. So taking care of the ball and, just moving it, making the right play, I feel like we would have been good in the first half.
And then Morgan Stafford has now had 2 20-point games against you guys this season. What's so difficult when it comes to guarding him for you guys?
It's not that more that it's difficult. It's more that we just need to pay more attention to man on the floor and knowing the sky report, knowing where he's at. I feel like we got lost a couple of times. That's not knowing where he's at on the field, especially because Sam told us he was going to be hot. He comes in here, he's going to be hot. Like, he's not going to pass the ball, he's going to shoot it, and that's exactly what he did. So we just got to listen to each other and stick to our principles.
Just looking at the shooting numbers for both teams, it looks like neither team quite reaching 40%. For you all, did you feel like with the amount of foul calls, the choppiness and the flow of the game, that maybe made an impact in how the outcome of the offensive performance played tonight?
No, I think it's more focused. I mean, we always shoot. We know we can knock them down, but just being focused, stepping up and knocking them down is better, and also stepping up, hitting our free throws. I feel like that was a big deal during the game also.
More questions for our players? Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Coach, if you'd like to start with an opening statement, we can open up for questions.
Yeah, I mean, the guys played really hard, and we did some good things. Obviously, the game was, 76 free throws and 55 fouls called. It kind of takes a little bit of the flow out of it. Kind of got us behind the 8 ball when we had 3 starters with 2 fouls, pretty early in the first half with the lead, and then so we're trying to buy time as you like. I like to leave guys in and maybe risk getting a third, but the way it was just the whistle every time down the floor, we couldn't take that risk, and I thought that hurt us. In that first half, and that little run was kind of the difference in the game. But yeah, just game where we got to make more shots. Got to make more free throws. We've got to perform better on the offensive end.
Coaches, or questions for Coach?
From your perspective, how difficult is it to coach a game like that when there's so many stoppages of play during, like, when you guys are trying to build up momentum and things like that?
Yeah, I mean it's very opposite of what we're trying to do. We're up. We're trying to get the ball and go. We're trying to spread and attack and do all those things. And when the game's just clutch and grab, but in just a whistle, I feel like every time down, it took away some of the aggressiveness on both teams and kind of made it into, who at the end of it is going to have a few less fouls is going to win.
And then obviously towards the end of the game, you guys are trying to make that comeback. A lot of your guys were up to 4 to 5 personal fouls. I mean, how difficult was that for you to manage? You're trying to make that comeback, but also, a lot of guys have to check in and out, do the.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, just like in the first half, when you guys get 2 and you're sitting and you're playing, some different guys, different lineups. Now, in the second half, you're trying to pressure and you're trying to get a comeback. You're trying to press, but you also have 3 guys out there with 4 fouls. You're maybe not as aggressive as you need to be, and so then it just changes the game. It changes the game without a doubt, and it's just part of how it goes.
Morgan Stafford got going early for Kent State, never really slowed down. He's had 20-point performances in both games against you guys this year. What was difficult in guarding him, keeping track of him today for you guys, you think? And just the kind of success he's had in both games against you.
Yeah, he got a good look to start. You know, you don't want that first three to be a good look, and he got a good look. A kind of sprung three from the zone. We had a breakdown where we kind of got out of position, didn't get to him, and so he sees the first one go through, and then you could kind of tell he was feeling it because he was letting that thing go really, really fast and deep. So hats off to him. He played really, really well, and you know he drew 6 fouls, and you know I think it's hard and when you're a good offensive player and it's just not a lot of physicality allowed, you can really put up some points in a hurry, especially as aggressive as he is.
You really went at Gillespie early, getting him out of the game with foul trouble, and same with Whaley Jr. How did that kind of help the team early in the game kind of find a flow?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of saw on film some things that we liked. You know, both very good players, and we wanted to try to make them work on the defensive end as much as possible. And you know, but we got to finish. I mean, too many times we got down there and missed layups at the rim point blank, and you know that's not acceptable.
We've talked about it kind of throughout the season. One of these games where you've struggled from behind the arc, kind of how do you move past this, especially going into a big game against Miami?
Yeah, I mean, you hope as the roller coaster of our shooting goes that the next one is one of those, you know, 12 for 16 games that we've had. So you hope you know, it's a very unique group where, and I've never been part of a group where kind of your group of shooters go hot and cold together. Because it looks, you know, you look at it and overanalyze it, and you say these looks are the same, and you get some clean ones, and but I mean that's how it goes. We shot it really well on Saturday, and today not so much.
Yeah, it seemed like there at the end, the defensive pressure was able to get you all back in the game with that full court press. What did you make of the team's efforts late, kind of pushing back there? I believe cutting it to, I believe it was 2 or 4 at one point there in the final minutes. Yeah, just curious your perspective on that late game push.
Yeah, you know, and I thought there was a couple travels and stuff that you know I thought we could have forced in there, and you know it doesn't go your way, and that's how the game goes. But you know, I thought our pressure though, once we kind of got urgent, you know, and you start, you know, it's hard when you have 4 early. You don't want to go to that pressure and quite, but then as you get a little closer to under 3 minutes or so, then you know you turn it up because you got nothing to lose at that point. So once we did that, it was pretty effective.
With the Miami game on Friday, just your overall thoughts on the season they've had and the team's mentality going into that one.
Yeah, I mean they've you know truly rode the momentum of you know piling up wins, and they're feeling good and confident. You can tell in how they play. You know they're getting 10,000 people at home in their stadium, and it's been you know quite a season, a special season for them to kind of put it all together. So you know our job is to come in and perform well on Friday.
Any more questions for Coach? Great. Thank you.
All right, have a great night.